You're viewing AIM Internet Television.
The goal of archaeology is to understand our past. Much of what we know about long-vanished peoples comes from the excavation of their graves. This work has shed light on the very roots of humanity, but it has also disturbed the sacred sites of earlier cultures. In recent years, the collecting and handling of human remains have become more controversial, as native peoples around the world demand a new respect for their ancestors. The conflict is especially heated in North America. In the last century, countless Indian burials have been stripped bare. Today, museums and institutes across the United States house the remains of some 300,000 Native Americans. In 1927, this 1,000-year-old burial site in Illinois was opened to the public. The Dixon Mounds Museum would prosper. But in the 1980s, Native Americans registered complaints about the exposed skeletons. By the 1990s, protests were held outside the museum.
In our own land. So this movement, the American Indian movement, is said to be first a spiritual movement.
To political activist Vernon Belcourt of the Ojibwe tribe, and to many others, the burial display was deeply disturbing.
We practice our spiritual way of life. We still have our language, our prayer songs, and many of us who follow the traditional teachings of our grandfathers and grandmothers, we then take exception when we see our burial sites being desecrated and the physical remains of our ancestors who are an open burial pit for tourists and others to witness. We decided to take some direct action.
In 1991, Belcourt and 4 other activists were forcibly removed from the museum for attempting to rebury the skeletons. One year later, museum officials closed the display and completely covered it with earth. Under a law passed in 1990, federally funded institutions have begun to return Indian remains to their tribes. Native peoples in Australia, New Zealand, Africa, and elsewhere are calling for similar policies. Across time and space, the voices of the dead still reach us in the most surprising ways.
You're viewing AIM Internet Television.